So hang on to that, someone to fall back on. And all the judgments we have about ourselves and why we wouldn't be enough. Let's just tuck that one away. We're talking about covenant. This practice of staying and restoring. And last fall, we spent a month on covenant. Do you remember? Any guess of what month that might have been? Yes, you were still members here. It was September. Thank you for playing. And it was September because that's the start of our church year, and we needed to understand the foundation of our faith community, the foundation of our faith tradition, before we could explore our values, a different one every month. And we are a religion of covenant, not creed. And as a faith tradition, we center promises, not belief. And our promises center on how we will be together, knowing at least two things. One, we need each other. We need each other. As we talked last week when Dee Dee told us about pluralism and how their son caught her and said, "You're a hypocrite. You've been saying all this stuff all along, and now when I want to do this thing, you're like, Yeah, we need one another. We need one another to live into these values. And two, that we share the responsibility for adding to the sum of love and justice in the world. And it might be hard to connect to the word covenant. It sounds a little antiquated, like it's really not a part of our lives, of our current world. And yet, for those of us with children, covenant should sound really familiar. We may not say the word, but make no mistake, there is a covenant to promise, a promise to care for, love, and grow kids into adulthood. And for those of us who are or were married, we spoke an explicit covenant. Whether or not we used the word, we agreed to these vows. We spoke aloud, or we repeated. We made promises to one another. And here at Common Flame, we speak a covenant every week. We create covenants in our small group. We have a covenant of respectful relationships, parts of which are even read on a non-Sunday morning when we are hosting political forums, when we are hosting candidate discussions. We're saying, here's the house rules. You might behave any which way out there, but here, this is how we do it. If we aren't mindful, though, it can seem like we are merely just saying some nice words. Or maybe it's an affirmation because those words are so kind and so decent. I found my people. When we speak our covenants, establishing our covenantal relationships, we aren't in those moments typically thinking about what can go wrong. That's true even though many marriage vows name some version of the very traditional for better or worse, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health. We know which side of those pairings we pay attention to. We know we are in need of promises, not just to confirm our relationship, but to hold us in that relationship and to remind us of who we actually want to be when times are hard. And times do get hard, even in church, as Stacy courageously reminded us. We are imperfect creatures. We are imperfect creatures, and our knowledge, awareness, and temperaments are, let's just say, uneven. We mostly do our best, but our best isn't the same day to day. And sometimes our best is off the mark. As humans, we are promise makers and we are promise breakers, but we are also promise renewers. That is the heart of why we name covenant as the practice of staying and restoring. Don't just put up with it. Don't just hold your nose and pretend it isn't there. when the hard times come, we make mistakes. When we make mistakes, when we feel cast out, when we wonder if we still have a place in this, we stay and see if we can restore. Stacy's reflection reminded us this is not easy. Our bodies respond as bodies do. Some of us favor flight, some favor fight, some freeze, and some fawn. Some of us do lots of different things, and these are our initial physical reactions, and they are so real. The stomach ache, the sweaty palms, the pounding heart, all of the things. They are real, and we don't choose them. And we don't get to opt out of them either. And as Stacy told us, it takes work. It takes work to feel whatever comes and see if there might be something else there, something driven less by our ancestor than the fear we inherited from our ancestors, the thing that is hardwired into us. Their fear, of course, was being consumed by a predator. Ours is maybe a little different than that fear. But to see if we can hold that fear and also be centered in the relationships and the values of our whole and holy lives. That work isn't easy either. It might mean getting help to hold or resolve past trauma. It might mean embracing a spiritual practice to breathe through our emotional, physical response. It might mean doing the work to hold multiple truths at the same time. It might mean asking someone to bear witness. It might mean lots of different things for each of us. All of which point to an intentional choice that we can make to make room for the possibility of restoration. It's important to name this today, these days, right? Because our culture teaches us to be suspicious. Our culture teaches us to get mad and then get even, to lob one-liners at each other and walk away, to be courageous about our opinions online, but to back away from them in person. But we are people who want more. We are people who say we have different values than that. So here we are. Here we are. In and through community lies the salvation of the world. That is the opening line of M. Scott Peck's book, written some 40 years ago. Just 40 years ago, but you know what? Our religion has been living it for more than 200 years, and living it desperately and perfectly, I'll note. But our religion has its roots in the earliest days of white settlers in this country. And while there is much wrong with settler colonialism, as we've named on numerous occasions and will name again, there is also something beautiful happening theologically. In an era of rampant Calvinism, which is to say Christianity rooted in fear and judgment, our theological ancestors were lifting up something more helpful to living in and through the terrors of living across an ocean from everything and everyone they knew. Rather than creed, rather than saying, here's what we believe together, they were emphasizing covenant. Because embedded within covenant is an admission that we need one another and that we are better together. And it's not easy. These are the values of practice, not accomplishment. And covenant is the practice of staying and restoring. To do that, we need some reminders, and one that I turn to is actually something I have learned from folks in 12-step programs, specifically Alcoholics Anonymous. The wisdom is this: principles, not personalities. principles, not personality. It refers to the idea that our shared principles, in our case, our principles and values, our mission, should be central. We should be about these things: deepening spiritually, connecting authentically, serving respectfully, loving radically, and these values. We should be about nurturing a community in which we are in these values and do those things. And those should be most important. Those should be more important than personal conflicts, egos, and individual differences. So that's worthy of a big sigh and a big pause and a taking that in. Because even though we say things like, I'm here for community, this is the community. This is the kind of community. It's not a community center where we have a janitor that cleans up and you come and do whatever you do. This is what we do. I also want to name that in order to stay, you have to acknowledge that community is a two-way street. It's not just what you get out of it and how it feels to you. It is that you put something into it. There has to be a commitment to be present and participate as often as possible. And within that is a trust and a deep knowing that your presence makes a difference to those around you. I look around here and I can see faces, and when I see faces, I see stories. And I know the stories, not all of them, but I know the stories of how important so many of you have your particular story, your particular face, your particular experience has been to somebody else. You've been through the death of someone dear. You've lost a job. You've lost a baby. You've worried over your child's health. And you've only been, it's not what I say, it's no matter how gorgeous the music is, it's that you offer that to each other. We forget that, and we only hear the first part of the song, where I'm not the saint, I'm not the prince, I'm not the. And we don't make the turn, but friend, let me tell you, we need to make the turn. We need to make the turn. My colleague and friend, the Reverend Victoria Safford, shared a story about a man who came to her church every single Sunday. I'll say that just in case you missed it. He came every single Sunday. Now, let's not confuse the issue. He had lots of stuff to do. He was a retired geologist, but he volunteered in countless places. He worked at a local food bank. He worked with Amnesty International. He worked at Audubon Society and on an AIDS project, among many other things. He was clear with himself and everyone else that he felt he should be committed to the causes that mattered to him. And so he did all that stuff, but despite all that, he came every single Sunday. And what's more remarkable, he sat in the front row. Yeah. Anyway, and my friend always thought that's because he had a hearing loss, rather than any sort of sense of self-importance or that he wanted to be seen or anything like that. Well, one day, my friend just kind of couldn't stand it anymore. And so she said to him, John, why do you come every single Sunday? I mean, it doesn't matter how good or bad the weather is or whether you're feeling great. This is pre-COVID, okay? Whether you're feeling great or if it's a guest speaker or what's going on, you are here every single Sunday. Why? And his answer was quick and direct. He said, I come because somebody might miss me if I didn't. I come because somebody might miss me if I didn't. And it wasn't arrogance. It was generosity and honesty and accountability. Safford wrote of that, he was the kind of person who saw it as his duty and a privilege to welcome newcomers on Sunday morning, not because he needed more friends. He was a man who was 80 years old with a lifetime of friends and colleagues and acquaintances to spare. He had more friends than he could handle. He did not do it because he wanted to evangelize to the visitors or grow the church. Indeed, he loved and missed the tiny congregation that he had joined in 1955. He still felt a little lost with so many new faces and actually a little sad about all the changes. Still, he greeted people as they came and steered them towards the minister, the coffee pot, the Sunday school, the sign-up sheets, because he felt it was right and the only thing to do. When people come into your home, you welcome them as if nothing in that moment matters more. He worked hard on Sunday mornings, and he got up every Sunday morning expecting to work hard, expecting to make people feel at home. It was some many months later, some years later, that he died. And he was missed. He was missed. And then you know what happened? The very next Sunday after his memorial service, someone new came. Someone who had never met John, would never have the chance to meet him, and they walked into the church and they sat right in the vacant front row. A whole family just sat right there as if they had every right to be there. And we were glad to see them. These two women new to town and their toddler and their baby, they came in hoping there might be room for them. John would have been delighted. I love that story. I love that story because John's primary goal wasn't his own satisfaction. It wasn't that he thought things were going so perfectly or that it's always been great. It wasn't because he wanted the church to grow. He wanted his same old small congregation back. He didn't need to convince anybody that this was the right congregation for them. He trusted that they could make their own decision just as he had. He just trusted that he just might be the person someone most needed to talk to that day. And that if he didn't show up, somebody, the right somebody, just might miss connecting with him. I love that story because there are so many teachers that walk among us. And you are each teachers for each other. And so in this time of rampant division, of hiding for fear of offending, of so many of our young folks saying that their biggest dream is to be a social media influencer or to be independently wealthy, in such a time of deep suspicion of institutions, of declining marriage rates, among other things, this stuff is distinctly countercultural. And holy cow, do we need it. Living into covenant is what this community is about. It's not easy, but it is the blessing of a lifetime if we lean in. Again, I turn to my wise colleague, Victoria Safford, to close us out. She said, someone said to me not long ago, quote, "Covenant is a promise I keep to myself about the kind of person I want to be, the kind of life I mean to have, together with other people and with all living things." End quote. She goes on, when we welcome babies in our church, when we welcome new members into the community, as we did last week, when we celebrate the love of beaming couples, as happened yesterday, when we ordain new ministers, as we just did a couple of months ago, blessings, Michael DeSantis, Reverend Michael DeSantis, we speak not in binding language of contract, but in the life-sustaining fluency of covenant, from covenir, to travel together. We will walk together with you, child. We will walk together with you, friend. We will walk together with each other toward the lives we mean to lead, toward the world we mean to have a hand in shaping. The world of compassion, the world of equity, freedom, joy, and gratitude. Because covenant is the work of intimate justice. Beloveds, let us walk, let us move, let us be together, knowing we need one another. So may it be. All my relations, Shanti, Shalom. Amen.
And with that, I invite you to